it's Denise. This is going to be a short Pilates video. If you're trying Pilates for the first time, two things to remember. One, never hold your breath, because people new to exercise normally do that when they're thinking about something. And secondly, when I talk about engaging your core, the easiest way to think about it is drawing your navel in towards your spine. I'm going to go through a full setup and a bit of mobility. So your standing setup is as follows. You've got your weight evenly balanced, toes are pointing forward, feet are hip width apart. So you should have an imaginary line running from about your second toe up through your shins, through the middle of your kneecaps, up into your hip bones here. Your legs are long, but don't press your kneecaps back. There's a little bit of softness there. And once you've got your legs long, think about pulling up through the crown of your head to lengthen out your spine. But as you pull up, make sure your shoulders don't go up as well. They stay down in their sockets, and you squeeze your shoulder blades gently towards each other. So when you're standing tall, you should be long but relaxed. Okay, let's think about your spine. We try and keep what's called a neutral spine in Pilates, and that's a natural curve in our lower back. Some of us don't have it, and we have to work at it. Some people have a flat back, so their tailbone is tucked under. Some people have a big arch in the back. So to check whether you have a neutral spine or to find it, you put your thumbs on your navel, your fingertips on your pubic bone, heels of hands on your hips, and then you look down. If you've got neutral spine, your thumbs and your fingers are level. I'm going to turn sideways. So if you find your fingers are ahead of your thumbs, it's because you've got your tailbone tucked under, so you've got to move to sort that out. And if you have got a big arch in your back, you'll find your thumbs are ahead of your fingers. So again, you've got to adjust this whole area to get that neutral spine. Okay, let's think about our breathing now. In Pilates, we try to breathe in through nose and out through mouth, but if you find that impossible, if you do a lot of yoga, just keep on with your yoga breathing. And we try and direct the breath high up into our ribcage area here, because that allows us to keep more control of our core. So when you breathe in, you should feel your ribs expanding, and when you breathe out, you should feel them going in. So what I'd like you to do is take a breath in through your nose, and then breathe out through your mouth. So try that a couple of times, and then sometime when you get to your out breath, think about engaging your core. So I'm going to take a breath in, and as I breathe out this time, I'm going to pull in here, and if you're able also to pull up your pelvic floor, please do. So you should be feeling a tension here. Okay, so we're in a good standing setup. We're breathing beautifully, we're in neutral spine, and we've got our core engaged. So we're just going to do a bit of mobility, not too much. So let's just start with a shoulder roll. So get those shoulders rolling, then roll them forward. One more back, and then drop them down to the sockets. Let's start working the whole of our body. So we're going to start challenging our balance. So we're going to lift both hips, lift both heels and float arms. So whilst you're doing this, you've got your core engaged, but because you're starting to challenge your balance, you might have to pull in and up a bit more, or just pull in. So as you go up, arms are going a bit higher. I'm going to move back a bit. So if you lose sight of my arms, you know exactly where they're going. So this time, let's go right to the top. So things to check. Are your shoulders down? Have you got your core engaged? Are you still in neutral spine? And are you breathing? So from there, drop your heels, take a side bend. So if you're using this version, make sure you're not just standing there waving your arms about, you are working from here. Some people don't like that, they prefer to have one sliding down, and then they come up and change sides. Some people don't like that, so you can just do a slide. So you're trying to increase the range of movement. So you're still breathing, you won't stay in neutral doing this. Okay, come back to centre. Let's add a rotation. Let's stack our arms. Now we're going to work from here upwards, so that includes our neck, but we're going to keep our hips facing forward. So stack your arms, make sure your shoulders are still down and back. So add a breath. You might want to breathe in as you rotate and breathe out back to centre, or you might want to breathe in the opposite direction. When you've done 2, change your arm so you don't build up an imbalance. So I'm breathing in as I go to the side and breathing out when I come back to centre, 1 more each side. Are your hips staying forward or your shoulders still down and back? When you come back to the centre, bring your arms down but take a breath in. As you breathe out, squat, just to get your hips and knees working. So we're not going too deep, we're taking our weight backwards, and even though we're bending our knees, we're not pushing them forward. And I'm breathing. I'm going to do 1 more. Then let's add a hip rotation. So if your balance isn't great, you're going to keep your toes on the floor and draw an arc. Okay? If your balance is okay, and if you're going to balance, you've got to pull up and in a bit more. There's your rotation. I'm breathing. I'm trying hard not to fall over. Then change sides. So again, you've got the choice of drawing an arc on the floor or taking it into a balance. Just to get that hip opening and closing. Okay, widen your stance. Really relax. We're going to rotate the whole of our body now. So I'm a bit restricted by furniture, but if you're standing close to the wall in the studio, please don't get too close to the wall or wherever you are. So you're swinging and wrapping. Lift your heel as you turn away. Relax your shoulders. Make sure you're rotating the whole of your spine. And keep breathing. Okay, I'm now going to do a roll down to get my spine working. If you don't like folding forward, just do a few bits more of mobility like we've done, and then join me on the floor. So I'll turn sideways. 45. Okay. So I'm back to my setup. Standing tall, I'm in neutral. I'm going to take a breath in to get ready. On my out breath, I'm going to engage my core, tuck my chin in, and then I'm going to roll down. Whilst you roll down, you're trying to release 1 vertebra at a time. You don't look out your knees, and you don't stick your bottom out if you can help it. Take a breath in at the bottom, breathe out and roll on up. This time I'm going to go to the floor. So if you're not too flexible, bend your knees as much as you wish, and you can either roll down and walk out onto your hands and knees, or you can go to a high plank and then your hands and knees, because our exercise is going to be on hands and knees. So I'm going to move to my mat, so you might lose my head, but that's no big deal. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, roll on down. So if you're not too flexible, this is where you bend your knees as much as you need to. When you get to the hands to the floor, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, walk on out. So you can go straight to your hands and knees. I'm going to go to a high plank. I'm going to move just a little bit further back. Right, I've got my shoulders over my wrists. My shoulder blades are down in my back pockets. My neck is following the line of the rest of my spine. And when I'm ready, I'm coming to hands and knees. And if you don't like working on your knees, I'll give you an alternative in a moment. Well, so what we're going to do is working on hands and knees, but everything can be done on your front exactly the same. Right, so let's set up. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Slide your shoulder blades down your back. Tuck your chin in for a long neck. So I'm looking about here. And then we need to find neutral spine. So take a breath in, and as you breathe out, engage your core, keep it engaged. Lift the midsection of your body and let your head and tailbone react. As you breathe in, keep that core engaged, drop the midsection, head and tailbone react. So those are the 2 extremes. Do it one more time. Keep breathing, keep that core engaged, keep your shoulders down and back. So can you do it one more time, but make it a bit smaller? And then stop somewhere in the middle, so you've just got that little curve in your lower back. It's not a very scientific way of finding neutral spine, but it's the only way we have. Okay, you've got to keep balance. Don't move your hips or shoulders. We're going to work one leg. I'm going to give you lots of options. So you're going to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, you make sure your core is still engaged. You keep in neutral. Easy version, just slide and extend. Breathe in, slide back in. Okay? If you find that okay, let's move it on. Breathe out, slide, and then float your leg to hip height. Breathe in, float down, slide in. If that's okay, go to the next version. On your out breath this time, you take it immediately to hip height, and as you breathe in, you bring it back in. So the knee comes back to the same spot. What I find a lot in the studio, as soon as that leg comes off the floor, I don't know whether you'll be able to see this, as soon as your leg comes off the floor, because you know it's going off, before you even move, you transfer your weight to the other side, okay? But you mustn't do that. You must keep your weight in the centre. So your two hands and this supporting leg have got to work really hard. So you've got three choices. Breathing out and in. Breathing out and in. Or breathing out and in. Change sides. Do 3 extensions, but choose your own version. You know what you can do. I'm going to do one of each. Breathing out and in. Breathing out and in. Breathing out. Are you managing to keep your weight in the centre, and are you managing to keep neutral spine? So choose which is the best for you, and don't automatically choose the hardest one because it might not be the one for you. Right, let's see our arms. So I'm going to work this arm. Easy version. Right, breathe out, breathe in. Breathe out and float it up. Lower, breathe in. Or straight up there. So as soon as you start moving your arm, try and keep your shoulder away from your ear. So choose a version and do 3 practices. Breathe out and in. Breathe out and in. Breathe out and in. So if you don't like the arm, just do the leg. And obviously we're not going to work the arm and the leg on the same side. We're going to work diagonally because that's how we always move our body. So you've got loads of options. I'm going to work this leg and the opposite arm. I'm going to do 3, and I'm going to do, if I remember, 1 of each version. So, are your shoulders down and back? Are you in neutral spine? Have you got a long neck? Take a breath in. On your out breath, engage your core, opposite arm, opposite leg. Breathe out and in. Breathe out and in. Breathe out and in. Okay. On this second side, you might want to do 1 of each version like I've been doing, or you might want to choose your favourite version. But things to remember: keep your neutral spine, keep your shoulders away from your ears, and keep your weight in the centre. I'm going to do 3 of the same version this time. Okay, are you ready? Breath in. Out breath, off we go. Oh, hang on, better change sides. Which one? I can't remember which ones I did. Right, breathe out and in. Breathe out and in. Eyes should be absolutely still to help you stay balanced. Okay, sit back on your heels and take a stretch. Now, as I said earlier, if you don't like working on your knees, you can do all that on your front. But obviously, there's not going to be an in and out movement. You're just going to lengthen and release. Can we do 1 more each side, but really hold the balance this time? So, just 1 on each side, any version. Make sure you're in neutral, shoulders away from ears. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, extend. Take an extra breath in, breathe out and stretch even further, but keep that shoulder away from your ear. Breathe in and release. Make sure also that as you've only got one hand down, that you don't allow your chest to sag into the floor. Change sides. Are you ready? Take a breath in. Breathe out. I have a feeling I might have done the same side there. I think I probably did. Take an extra breath and stretch. Breathe in and come back in. If you want to stretch, you can either have your knees together and sit back on your heels, or take your knees wider, and that just gives you more of a stretch into your hips. Okay, we're now going to work on our side. So we're going to work our top leg. So the first thing you're going to do is set yourself up. I've got a mat and I'm going to set myself up at the back edge of it so I can get in a straight line. I'll just move my water bottle, else I'm going to kick it. Okay, so once you've got yourself set up, shoulders should be stacked, hips, ankles, toes, and you've got your ear down on your arm. Okay, now to take the pressure off our lower back, we're going to hip hinge, and all that means is squeeze your legs together and just bring your legs a bit further forward to the front of the mat. Okay, so I'd like you to take a breath in and get even longer. On your out breath, engage your core, and what you're going to do now is just lengthen that top leg. So by lengthening it, I've created a little gap at the waist there. Okay, so are you ready to go? Take a breath in. On your out breath, you've already got your core engaged. On your out breath, float that top leg up to hip height. Now it's going to stay at hip height, so there's no up and down, we're just moving forward and back. Imagine your inner thigh is on a tabletop and you're going to polish that tabletop. Are you ready? Breathe in and breathe out. Now what you're trying to do here is take the leg the same distance backwards as forwards. But also what you're not trying to do is get this moving here. So it's probably better if you start with a small movement. Now if you're struggling with your balance, what you can do is bend the bottom leg so you've got a bigger surface area to balance on. So it's breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. The tendency is, as you go backwards, to bend your knee, but you're keeping a long leg all the time. I'm going to take my leg back there. Okay, so that leg is long. Try point, flex, point, flex. So remember that leg is going forward and back. There's no up and down. If you can't cope with the going back, don't take it, just come back to centre. Come back to centre, let's do a flex forward and see how different that feels. Right, here we go. In breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. Does it feel different? In breath, out breath. Come back to centre. We're going to do 3 more, your choice of shape of foot. In breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. Are you still reaching that leg away? Are you keeping it long? And then bring it back to centre. Bend your knees in. You might want to massage your buttock if you feel it's worked hard enough. And then we're going to change sides. So we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So I'm lining up at the back of my mat. I'm struggling with furniture here. And then I'm going to hip hinge. So I lift. So I'm still stacked, but my legs are forward of my upper body. Okay, take a breath in and lengthen. On your out breath, engage your core and just lengthen that top leg. Take a breath in, ready. Out breath, float it up. And we're going forwards and back. Forward on an in-breath, backwards on an out-breath. And don't forget, if you're struggling, bend that bottom leg to make sure you can balance easily. I know that some of you will be able to do this with your arm down the side, but I've got no chance. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, if you're keeping that top leg long, you should still have that little gap at your waist. Breathing in, breathing out. Are you managing to keep this area still? Or is it rolling forward and back? Right, let's change the shape. Forward on a flex, back on a point. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. 3 more, any shape. Remember, I don't know whether I'm managing, but remember, you're imagining that this leg is on a tabletop, so the inner thigh is polishing and it's a flat table. Okay, lengthen that top leg, float it up. In breath, out breath. Are you keeping that leg long all the time? Are you keeping your hips stacked one on top of the other, and the same with your shoulders? Are you looking forward? And come to the centre. Okay, let's stretch. So we need to stretch 2 areas, and we need to stretch our glutes because they've been working, and we're also going to stretch hamstrings here as well because they always get a bit tight. So, knees bent, feet flat to the floor. Let's work our glutes first. So bring one ankle across one thigh. Flex that foot. This is the side we're stretching. Options. You might just want to press there. You should be feeling a stretch round that outer thigh area into your buttock. You might want to go further. You might want to lift the supporting leg. And if you do this, you can use your elbow to press the thigh out. You might want to go further and have that long leg, your choice. But when you're stretching on your back, you've got to think about the following. Are your shoulders relaxed? Is your neck long? Some of you, I'm sure at this point, will have your head here. So slide the back of your head along the mat, get your chin in the correct place and relax your shoulders. Keep breathing. When you're ready, change sides. So you might find it easier on one side than the other. I struggle on this side, so I'm just going to press there. Flex your foot. But don't forget, you can lift your thigh and use your elbow. You can lift your leg and still use your elbow. So I might just stay on there on this side. If you've still got a long neck, are your shoulders still relaxed? So I'm feeling the stretch here. When you're ready, take your feet back to the floor. Let's do a hamstring stretch. So this is a stretch from the back of your knee up into your hip. So you take one long leg in the air, hold behind thigh or calf and draw it in. Now you try and get the leg as long as possible. If you want, you can get rid of the other leg, but you don't have to. And again, make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Try flexing your foot, that changes the stretch again. And breathe. You might want to bring upper body towards lower body, but you don't have to. As long as you keep breathing, you should be feeling a lovely stretch up here. And when you're ready, change sides. So the leg that's being stretched as long as you can manage. If you can't reach your calf, use your thigh. If you're really struggling, just get hold of whatever you're wearing and use it to pull the leg in. Try a flex foot. Try a long leg if you wish. Shoulders relaxed, chin tucked in, long neck. Only when you're ready, don't rush, only when you're ready, you're going to rock up to sitting. So use that leg to rock you up. Okay, we're going to do a roll back, which is a really good core exercise, and I use it virtually every class. We're going to use the knees bent version, feet flat on the floor. I find this really difficult. Now, if you've not done a roll back before, In Pilates, any exercise that has roll in the title means get your back shaped like a hedgehog. It's called a C shape. And you start your C shape here. So to do that, when you engage your core, if you can see, when you engage your core, you tilt your pelvis. So by doing that, it's as if somebody's behind you, pushing your hips underneath you. And that starts the C shape. So as you move back, the C shape travels up your back. Okay, so I'm going to have knees bent, feet flat to the floor. At the moment we're sitting tall. You can hold here and slide your hands down, or you can take them forward. So, weight evenly balanced, shoulders down and back, neutral spine, you take a breath in, and as you breathe out, you engage your core, tilt your pelvis and roll. Don't go too far. Take a breath in, breathe out, roll on up to vertical. And again, breathe out. Breathe in and hold. Breathe out. Now there is another version. I find this one really hard, but some of you will find it easy. The other version is working with long legs. It's exactly the same. You tilt your pelvis. You breathe in. When you hold, you breathe out and roll on up. Can you do 3 of any version, please? Breathe out. Breathe in and hold. Breathe out. And again. Okay, if you can, and I hate doing this, but I'm going to do it, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. And we're going to hold a position as we're going back. So you're going to find a position that you can hold, but not too easily. So are you ready? Take a breath in. As you breathe out, tilt your pelvis. Breathe in and hold. Okay, can you hold it? If not, come up a bit higher. So I'm going to work some arms. Take a breath in, float one arm up. Breathe out, bring it down. Other arm, breathe in. Breathe out. Take a breath in, breathe out, roll on up. How did you manage that? Do you think you can manage 2 arms? Are you ready? If not, keep with the singles. Off we go. Breathe in, breathe out. And again. Again. As you float your arms up, don't let your shoulders go to your ears. Remember, you can do alternates or doubles. Breathe in, breathe out. Last one coming. Take a breath in, breathe out, roll on up. Relax your shoulders. Lengthen out your legs, give them a shake. Right, we're going to use that roll back to take us to the floor. And I'd like you to go all the way down. If you get to about here and you think you're going to collapse, what I'd like you to do is put your forearms down and go down with control symmetrically. If you don't need your forearms, that's absolutely fine. So you can either have long legs or bent legs. If you've got bent legs, you can slide down. I prefer long legs, that's all. Okay, I'm sitting tall, I'm in neutral spine. I take a breath in, I breathe out, engage my core, tilt my pelvis, and slow, 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 slow. Can you control it? You need to increase the tension in your core. Go to full stretch. Take a stretch. And then come to your set-up position. So, your arms are by your side, palms down. Your shoulders are away from your ears. You've got a long neck, so your chin's in a regular position. Knees are bent, feet flat to the floor. Feet and knees are hip width apart. If you're not sure how wide your hips are in this position, I mean, they're the same width as they were in standing, but more difficult to imagine. Either imagine you've got a tennis ball between those bits, or prop yourself up, use a fist, and that's about hip width. Okay, we need to find neutral spine, and again, let's go through the extremes. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, engage your core, take your lower back into the mat. Breathe in, take it away. So you're not lifting your buttocks, you're working this area here. Breathe out, that's one extreme, breathe in, that's the other. So do that a couple more times, making that arch in your back a little bit smaller, and stop somewhere in the middle. So again, it's not scientific, but if you want to check if you've got neutral spine, a rough guide is take a flat hand underneath and it should go under fairly easily without appearing on the other side. So we're trying to work in neutral spine all the time, but if your core's not strong enough, what you can do is take your lower back towards the floor. So if this is the floor, don't take your lower back right into it, but take it towards. That's called imprinting, and you can do that when you're working on your back with your feet off the floor until your core gets stronger. So first thing we're going to do, from our setup position, we're going to warm up our six pack. Those are the muscles near the surface. So you can work here or in tabletop. That's when you've got knee over hip, shins parallel to the floor. So I'm in neutral spine, I hope, yeah. I've got my core engaged. And what we're going to do is we're going to float up, and we're going to float by working this area here. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, make sure your core's engaged and float on up. So my arms are opposite my shoulders, palms down. I'm looking towards my navel area. That takes the pressure off my neck, and my legs are still. I breathe in and return. Breathe out. Breathe in. So if when you look at your navel, you still have a lot of pressure on your neck, you do have an alternative. So you make a support for your head, but you keep your elbows wide, and you don't pull your head up. You support it. You're still working from here. So it's exactly the same. You're breathing out, coming to the tips of your shoulder blades, supporting your head, not yanking it up. Breathe in. If when you come up, your arms are wrapped around your ears, it's normally because you're pulling your head up. So can you do 3 more, any version? Still in neutral if you can. Breathe out. Breathe in. Legs still. And then low to the floor. You might want to take a full stretch. You might want to tuck up. Right, we're going to take a basic exercise and do various versions of it and add on to it. It's a knee drop. That doesn't mean to say you drop your knee to the floor. Okay, I'm in neutral. I've got my core engaged. For the first few, put your hands on your hips, because if you find that you're taking your knee too far, you'll find this is happening. So you're trying to keep your hips still. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, engage your core. Just fold the knee out to the side without disturbing that hip. Breathe in. Same side, breathe out. Breathe in. One more. Change sides, breathe out. And you probably think, my goodness, this is so easy. But you've got to work to keep these hips still. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay, can we try the same, but in a half tabletop? So knees bent, okay, and you're going to keep that angle. Are you ready? You might want to take your arms a little bit wider. And you don't have to go to the floor. Remember, we're not disturbing this area. Hands there or not. Breathe out. Breathe in. So you're not altering the angle at your knee. Breathe out. Breathe in. Can you manage one more? Breathe out. Breathe in. Float your foot down. Change sides. Off we go again. Breathing out. Breathing in. You're keeping this area still. Breathing out. Breathing in. I bet some of you are allowing your heel to collapse into your thigh. Okay, can you now take a breath in, and as you breathe in, float your arms to vertical, drop your shoulders down. So those arms are going to stay there and stay absolutely still, and we're going to do exactly the same. It's your choice whether you use foot on the floor, half tabletop, or full tabletop. Your choice. We're going to do 3 on each side. I'm going to do one of each version, so you can copy me or just do your own thing. But shoulders down. I'm going to do a knee drop with foot on the floor. Breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. So on the other side, I'm going to do a half tabletop. We're going to do 2 on each side, I've decided. Each version for me. Breathing out, in, breathing out, breathing in. Right. If you're trying full tabletop, have a go, but keep those shoulders down, keep your arms still. Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. One more each side, any version. Breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, and lower. Okay, right. Now we're going to work arms and legs. Let's try all 3 versions and see how you get on. Right. Shoulders down, arms vertical. I'm going to work this leg and the opposite arm is going out, so we're working diagonally again. Are you ready? Take a breath in. On your out breath, engage your core and take opposite arm, opposite leg away from each other. Breathe in. Change sides. Breathe out. Breathe in. Okay, let's try half tabletop. So obviously the leg that's in the tabletop is going to work on the opposite arm. Let's do 2 on that side. Breathe, hang on. Breathe out. It's getting your brain to engage. Breathe in. Same again. Breathe out. Breathe in. Float your foot down. Change sides. Are you ready? Breathe out. So they're going away at the same time and arriving back at the same time. Breathe out and in. Full tabletop. Are you ready? And we're going to do, let's do alternate sides. So you're really going to have to get your brain engaged. I'm going to use this leg and this arm and I'm going to switch sides. Are you ready? Take a breath in. As you breathe out, arm and leg. Breathe in, bring it in. Switch sides. Breathe out. Whoa! Breathe in. You don't have to take your leg or your arm to the floor. Breathe out. Breathe in. One more each side. If you don't like this version, you've got 2 others to play with. Bring your arms down, bring your legs down. Tuck in or take a full stretch. Just a test of coordination and control there. Right, we're going to do a bridge, but we're not going to do a shoulder bridge, we're going to do a mini bridge. You might have done this, but you might not have done. So you set up a position where you are long. Your arms are by your side. Your heels are on the floor, but your toes are upwards. Can you see that? You've got flex. So I'm in this position here. My feet are flexed. Heads down, arms down. So you're going to squeeze your legs together. You're going to press your heels into the floor. Don't let your toes flop. And you're going to lift this area. This is why it's called a mini bridge. So you're going to work the underside of your heels. You're going to work all down here and your head and your upper back. So we're only going to do 3 of these. If you don't like it, don't do it. Just take a stretch. Right, I'm going to squeeze my legs together. I'm going to take a breath in to get ready. On my out breath, I'm going to pull in and up a lot on my core. And then I'm going to press into the floor and lift my hip area off the floor and breathe in and lower. Ready again. Are you still flexing your feet? And make sure your heels press into the floor. Squeeze your legs together. It helps engage your pelvic floor. One more. Knees into chest. Give your back a massage. Rock gently side to side. Okay, we're going to come up to sitting and do a seated half teaser. Now, it's your choice. If you can do a full roll up, you can do, I'll show you in a minute, or you're going to rock up. So choices are this: tuck your knees into your chest, take a big breath in, breathe out, roll on up. If you can do a proper roll up, you start from full stretch, arms overhead. If you can, you take a breath in to get ready, out breath, you engage your core. Next in breath, nod your head, drop your chin down. Out breath, reach upwards and over with your arms. And roll on up. Okay, so we're going to do a seated half teaser balance. We have done it in the studio. A lot of you don't like it, but just do your own version. I'll give you lots of versions to play with. Okay, so your starting position is feet flat on the floor, legs together. You've got to squeeze your knees together. Your hands will either be out to the side or backwards, and you'll probably find you have to move those. And you're trying to keep your back long and your shoulders down. You will tip back, but there is a difference between tipping back and slumping, so you're not slumping. Okay, remember you're squeezing your legs together. So take a breath in. On your out breath, engage your core, squeeze your knees together and lengthen one leg. So you're trying to get your thighs parallel with one leg long. So I'm squeezing my knees. I've tipped back a bit, but I haven't slumped, hopefully. Okay? If it doesn't get to that height, don't worry. Try the other one. Breathe out and breathe in. Okay? You might want to try two, you might not. So on your next out breath, try one then the other, or just, and so you've got two in the air, or try one then the other. Do you know what I mean? Take a breath in. On your out breath, it's one and then the other. Or on your out breath, both together. Okay? So you might be happy with one, your choice. So what we're going to do now is add an arm or arms. So let's say we're going to add an arm. We're trying to get arm and leg parallel. So I'm going to do back leg, front arm. So here we go, one at a time. Breathe out. Take another breath in, breathe out. So hopefully I've got that arm and leg parallel. Let's try the other side. Breathing out, take a breath in, breathe out. Okay, so what we're aiming for are both arms and both legs, but you might not be able to do that. So you could do opposite arm, opposite leg. So you might want to do breathe out, breathe out. You might want to bring the other arm in. So you've got two arms parallel with those thighs. Okay, you might want to try just two legs. You might want to do two legs and one arm, or you might want to do both legs, both arms. Okay, so big finale before we come to standing. Your version of a seated half teaser. So are you ready? Take a breath in. On your out breath, make sure your core is engaged loads and squeeze your knees together. Just build up to your balance regularly, slowly. Make sure your shoulders are down and back if you're using your arms. Make sure you've got a long back. And release one bit at a time. And then you might just want to fold forward. Okay, from here, you're going to swing your legs round the back. And you're going to come back to your hands and knees. This is where we started. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Shoulder blades back pockets, neutral spine. And even if you can find your neutral spine immediately, this is a lovely, lovely back stretch when you go through the extremes. Okay, once you're in neutral, take a breath in. Out breath, core if it's not already engaged, tuck your toes. Lift your hips as high as you can and then take your weight backwards. So really stretch. If your calves are feeling a bit tight, you could press one heel down and then switch and then both heels down. Right, we need to get hands and feet close together. So you can either walk your hands to your feet, walk your feet to your hands, or I like to jump in. If you want to jump in with me, you bend your knees, lift your heels, you look forward and you lightly jump in. Then you take a breath in, and as you breathe out, you restack your spine. Bit by bit, and move backwards. Okay, so check your posture. You've got your feet hip width apart, your legs are long but not locked out. Your shoulders are down and back. You're in neutral spine, I hope. And you've got your weight evenly balanced. So let's just do a balance to finish with. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, engage your core. Lift your heels. Float your arms upwards. Drop your shoulders down into the sockets and breathe. Fix your eyes on something that's not moving. From there, lower your heels, lower your arms. Just take a shoulder roll. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Join me again sometime. Thank you. Bye-bye.